Stellar WVON.
You don't know me, but I'm your brother. I was raised here in this living hell. You don't know my kind in you. Very soon the time will tell. You telling me the things you're gonna do for me. I ain't blind and I don't like what I see. We're taking it to the street. No more people. Take this message to my brother. You will find him everywhere. Wherever people live together. Tied in poverty's despair. Are you telling me the things you're gonna do for me? I ain't got and I don't like what I think.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Acclivus Hour. I am your co-host, Katrina Waddy, Public Education Director for Acclivus Inc.
And I am your co-host, Bomani Obadele, Community Engagement Director for Acclivus Inc.
Acclivus is a nonprofit organization that looks at violence through a public health lens as we work to build safe, peaceful, economically thriving communities, and we do that by offering several free services and resources designed to prevent, de-escalate, and mitigate violence in several categories. We have our street outreach team that works in 11 high violence communities across Cook County and Harvey, Illinois, and Champaign, Illinois. We have our hospital response team that works in partnership with 6 hospitals or trauma centers across the city. Our behavioral health therapeutic services team provides victims and survivors of violence and their families with those therapeutic services. We have technical training, workforce development, and mentoring assistance that's offered to our program participants, partnering organizations, and our staff. We have Acclivus Reentry Services, which assists newly released and formerly incarcerated individuals with maintaining healthy lifestyles by promoting pathways to successful community reintegration and decreasing social isolation. And through our partner initiative that's implemented with state departments and city organizations, we offer the Peacekeepers or Flatlining Violence Inspires Peace Flip program. Acclivus also works with and provides funding support to numerous indigenously led sub-grantee organizations, which also contribute to curbing violence in Chicago. We're led by Levon Stone Sr., who leverages his lived experiences in Chicago's streets to promote second chances throughout the entire Acclivus organization. And you can learn more about us on our website at www.acclivusinc, that's Acclivusinc.org, or you can follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, X or Twitter, and LinkedIn, and that's at Acclivus Inc. And you can always call us at 312-766-7145. That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But I also have to add, we have a open notice of funding opportunity. So we're on this radio station this morning. We announced it last week. It became live on Monday. We have an opportunity for community-based organizations who want to participate in reducing violence and violence reductions and violence prevention to apply. You don't necessarily have to be a 501c3 organization, but you must be GATA certified. That is one of the criteria. But I would encourage you to just go onto our website at Acclivus Inc. Take a look at the NOFO, go through the criteria. And I know there are those of you or know someone who's out there that's doing the work as far as I'm concerned, we always want to prioritize, working with indigenous communities, small community-based organizations who probably have never really had funding before from government. Doesn't say that if you are a larger organization, if you're doing great work out there and you need some funding to continue that work, I encourage you to apply for a grant through Acclivus Inc. And those funds are coming from the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. And we want to say we are in the position to grant those dollars out largely in part for the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. So I want to make that very clear. And our goal this year, Katrina and listening audience, is to grant out $2.1 million to community-based organizations, right?
Nice.
To provide some level of violence prevention and violence reduction work. So we are very intentional about that. We've been in this space for over the last 7 years, making grants out to community organizations, right? And I just want to be clear about this. We are now in our 7th year. And
going into our 8th year.
And we have successfully passed with no findings 5 audits, and we're going through one right now. So I'll be glad to say next year the 6th audit in 8 years. So that we've had no findings and zero findings, not one. So we pride ourselves on that, and that's to the great staff that we have and back office staff that we have at Acclivus Inc. And we've kind of helped a lot of folks. So I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole outside of encouraging folks within the listening audience. And if you know someone, to go on to acclivusinc.org, click on funding opportunity and take a look at the NO4 and see if it fits your criteria and apply for funding.
And the deadline for that is Monday, July 6th.
I believe the date's on there, but I believe it's July 1st. But if it's the 6th, it's the 6th. Yeah, it's the 6th. Okay. All right, great. Well, that gives you even more time.
Absolutely. I mean,
while you eating barbecue over the 4th of July, you can put a proposal together. All right.
Well, I know I hate to turn the shift of the show, but we do try to start each show by acknowledging anyone who's listening, who's experienced violence or is connected to someone who's experienced violence in any form this past week. I know a lot of shootings last weekend, Juneteenth.
Yeah,
unfortunately. And I just, I wanted to, lift up those families who are dealing with any loss of any sort. And so I don't know if there are any ones that come to mind.
I think the more startling one is the 2 women who got into a fight over one running past a light and almost cutting them off over in Humboldt Park. I just think interpersonal violence is sad, and one get out of the car and shoot the other. Listen, we have an internal, external problem in our community that we're going to have to deal with. One loss of life is too many. Though we've seen, and I know people don't like when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, that we've seen violence trending, in a downward. However, over these last 3 months, we've seen an uptick of shootings and homicides in our community. And again, it's going to take all of us to solve those problems. And we're not going to be able to arrest our way out of it. So, Acclivus, we extend our heartfelt condolences to anyone and all persons who have lost in life due to senseless violence in our community. I think there are many of organizations out there, and we should be lifting them up too, praying for the outreach workers, the peacekeepers who are out there, and some of them have risked their lives. I mean, we've had peacekeepers in that shooting who was out there, in a sense, on duty, trying to prevent what happened in a drive-by shooting from happening. But you cannot. I think, you start peeling back the onion of things, right? And what happens at some of these incidents and in parties again, it becomes very unfortunate, right? And however, there are many people who work in this space who've been hurt and injured trying to stop it. And so it's not just Acclivus. You have a myriad of organizations and communities. Some of our sub-partners, we partner with 11 community organizations that we fund to work in the city of Chicago to do this work. So there are men and women every day that are out there outside of law enforcement who are putting their lives on the line also to try to help temper down the levels of violence that we see in the community. And I would say if it was not for having CVI, community violence interrupters and peacekeepers in some of these 22 communities, the numbers would be greater. They would be greater. And for the folks even doing mediations, I don't think people understand the impact. And we've talked about this, Katrina, on the show, the impact of doing mediations and mediating conflict.
Right.
And I wish there was somebody could have mediated those two sisters yesterday.
Well, and that's the thing too about mediating conflict versus being law enforcement. And we're not the guardian angels, we're not the police, but because of our relationships with folks in the community, sometimes we are able to know that there's something brewing or something that might be potentially violent, and so we can try to get in front of it by using our relationships with folks to kind of calm them down or prevent things. And then there's a whole training that Acclivus offers that helps folks be able to identify conflicts on social media and things like that to be able to try to get in front of them when we can. So I'm going to shift us too, because we're going to be talking today with.
Let me interject just one thing. No, I just want to interject one thing because I want to get these young people on because I think this is very, very positive and conversation that we need to have. We've heard the serious of them, and I'm glad that these young men are in the studio with us. I want to uplift and congratulate Live Free Illinois for after 8 years of advocating, we had the mayor sign an executive order to create an Office of Gun Violence Prevention. And I think people need to understand why that's critical. Listen, I'll just say it this way without going down a rabbit hole, because I know we probably can do that July 4th weekend for people. In 1995, I was working in Robert Taylor. I was at 4848 running the community center. And we had 4846, I'm sorry, before they tore the building down. It was a dreadful heat wave. Down the State Street corridor, we lost hundreds of people to the heat wave that ultimately killed 951 people in the city of Chicago. However, in that same year, we also had over 700 murders.
Wow.
Of people died by gunfire. So the point I'm making, out of that came the Office of Emergency Management Services.
That's where
where it came from. And the first deputy, I believe, was Dana Stocks. He was the first deputy in Chicago Police Department, the late Dana Stocks. Daley moved him over and he made him the head of OMC, right? The Office of Emergency Management, as my memory corrects me. So out of that crisis came this office. Since then, we've lost over 10,000 people to shooting deaths. And unfortunately, 86% of them have been Black. This has been long overdue. Daley should have created the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Instead, they put more money into the Chicago Police Department. You saw the police budget grow from $900 million to $1.5 billion to today over $2 billion. In the Chicago police budget. So I want to be clear about why this office, and we're talking about $100 million or more. Right now, the city spends upwards of about 50-something million dollars on various violence prevention efforts. They're not housed in one concerted place. Some of them over at the CDPH. That's the Department of Public Health. Some is over the Department of Family and Family Support Services. And I think some is in some other agency, right? Therefore, coordinating, putting it all in one place, creating an executive director or commissioner level person, and putting the right people to kind of guide where gun violence resources should be going, I think is critical.
Well, and I know, and again,
without diving into
because we are going to probably have to talk about that maybe on next week's show, because let's make sure folks understand the difference between the Office of Public Safety, this new office that's being proposed, and then how these offices these different departments and offices.
Well, public safety is just that they deal with that's the police department, it's the fire department, it's fire, it's OMC, right? Right. It is natural disaster, so it is coordinating of services when an emergency happens, right? However, when you start looking at gun violence, again, we talked about the heat wave, and we're going to have one this week, right? Another heat wave. If we don't project, it'll be over 105. It was hotter than a Kawasaki in the projects when you boys wasn't born in 95.
So would be sweating, baby.
Oh my God! Listen, it was dreadful. It was dreadful, and we lost people during that heat wave, but we lost them to the massive heat, and we lost them to gun violence, and gun violence never tempered down. Now, we've seen those numbers go down over the past years, but 500, 400, 300, 200, 800 murders are too many.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
need to focus on, and it needs to laser beam focus like other cities have done
Yeah.
to address it. I mean, again, this is a long, protracted conversation that
Yeah.
we can have, but it's not replacing any other department. It is
And it's
creating
not
one
duplicative
and it's
efforts
not
either.
duplicating service. It is streamlining and focusing on an existential crisis that we have, and that's gun violence and the impact of gun violence on this city.
Yeah, and I think too. Again, let's talk about it. I think we're gonna have to table this for next week because I want to make sure we get these young people on. But talk about too when you lose the federal funding, and that maybe this is a critical and perfect time to have it at the city level.
Absolutely.
So,
Listen, the state has an Office of Gun Violence Prevention. We talk about it. One of our sponsors. We didn't mention that this morning.
I'm about to. I'm about
we
to.
didn't get to it, but the state has an Office of Gun Violence Prevention. The federal government had it under Biden and Harris administration, and our current administration not only closed the office summarily 1 hour after he took office, but he also immediately canceled all the contracts that were going to community groups across the country to address gun violence, right? And they had put over and merely $500 million. The goal was $5 billion into addressing gun violence. And so much goes into that. And I know there are a lot of cynical folks, but again, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole because we have a very important conversation with some young people that we want to get to.
We're going to get to it.
I just want to say one thing.
Oh, yes. All right.
I feel like the city they want to see more murders than they probably want to solve more murders.
Oh.
Because I feel like being in the streets, you probably see like a police to take somebody to this hood they don't supposed to be in, or they'll go to somebody's hood and play the person who they are to with songs. So it's like a win-win for them. So it's like they know we gonna get mad,
and then some violence is gonna happen.
Yeah, and they want to put us in jail or us to die.
Can I say another thing?
Well, you're just gonna jump into it then. Okay, all right, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say something because I see a lot of passion in this room about, our community, and I love to see it, especially from my fellow Black people. But I'm just seeing how the system operate and how, all I want to say is just don't let the system infuriate you. I'm happy that you're working. You know what I'm saying? Continue to work. We're going to break generational curses. We're going to break barriers and move forward. But you can't let the system infuriate you. That's what they're doing.
This is, I'm about to start crying. This is so deep. I'm bringing on Jabari and Kennedy, and let me introduce them real quick. And I want to shout out our sponsors before we lose sight of that. We're going to be talking with Jabari Horn from our convener team, and we've got members of our youth advisory board in the studio, Kyle, and we've got Ace, and then on the phone we've got Kennedy. I think we just lost Jabari, but he should be popping back on again. But before we bring them on, we want to make sure you all are invited to join the conversation. We already have a full bank of calls. We've got some folks that are already talking online. But we want to quickly shout out our sponsors and invite you to join the conversation. You can call the studio at 773-591-1690. You can watch us live via the Acclivus Facebook page or the WVOM Facebook page. And we want to quickly shout out our sponsors: the UIC Social Work Policy Center, the Illinois Department of Human Services Office of Gun Violence Prevention, our friends at the Michael Reese Health Trust Foundation, the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, or ICJA, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and the Chicago Department of Public Health. So I just want to thank each of those groups for their generous support that helps make this show and our work possible. So now, jumping right into it, I want to formally introduce and welcome to the show Jabari Horn from our convener team, Kennedy on the phone, and Jabari and Kennedy on the phone, and like I said, Kyle and Ace here in the studios. And today what we're going to try to do is talk about, this quote unquote teen takeover crisis, that of course everybody's talking about it, and what we wanted to do today, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again if we can strong arm them and bribe them into coming back again. But just start this conversation and continue this conversation with the folks that are closer in age to the people that are participating in teen takeovers and teen trends. And so we hosted a teen takeovers listening session about a month ago, earlier this month. And so that was a great time to be able to hear from the youth, and that's what we really want to do, is hear from them. So, Brother Wall, I see you said let the young blood speak. We're going to do just that. So, Jabari, let me introduce you first, and let you introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell us who you are, how you came to Acclivus, and how you came to doing this kind of work.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me. I'm project coordinator with Acclivus Convener Team. I got into this work because I genuinely just wanted to be a part of the solution in my community, or just in general in the city. Prior to this, I was more so just like in customer service and management, but I felt that my experience in general kind of translated over. And just by working in this space now, I see that it pretty much did. The point of like the convener team specifically is to, I would say it serves as a bridge between the community and the resources. So we work closely with the residents, community organizations, schools, businesses, to understand the challenges that each neighborhood faces. And then we try to respond by creating meaningful programming and partnerships, whether that's like workforce development, financial literacy, mental health resources, or youth engagement. Like the goal is to create opportunities that lead to long-term community stability and growth.
Thank you. Thanks, Shabari. Thank you for that. And then Kennedy, you're on the line too. I'm not sure if you also tried to patch in another young lady as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I'm here, and so is Malia.
Hey, Malia. And you all are part of our youth advisory board out of which one of the communities? Out of Greater Grand Crossing?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And then so we got Ace and Kyle, and you all are part of our youth advisory board in Fuller.
Yes.
In Fuller Park. Okay, so we already kind of got the conversation going. I'm so happy to hear from you all, and thank you, Ace, for those kudos to us. And I think what you're able to see here today is just the importance of indigenous leadership. You know, when we were coming in the studio today, Kyle was like, "Hey, oh good, Obadeli's going to be here. You know, I want to talk to him about." So he's not at an age or at a leadership where they're not even connected. Kyle already knows, you know, the
and he's quite boisterous.
Yes, he is. I love it. I love it.
He's quite boisterous, right? And I think it would be important for all the young people on the line, if they don't mind. Why don't you give your age as well?
23.
I just turned 21 yesterday.
All right.
And Kennedy and Mayela.
I'm 17 and Malia is 17.
Malia. Okay, cool.
Great. So
Cool.
we know we got real young people
Yes.
who have real lived experience, and so we can jump right
Yeah.
into the conversation.
So just talking about teen trends like we did, earlier this month. I guess the question would be, almost what we talked about earlier about, what I guess what's you all's perspective on these, especially based on what you just kind of started off saying about, your thoughts about police involvement and all that with these teen takeovers. I guess the first question I think a lot of adults always want to know, like, why y'all want to do that? And are you all nervous sometimes when you all are participating in these? You get the invitation or you see and I'm not saying all of you all participate in them actively, or you all may know someone who has, but I guess the first question is, what are you all's thoughts about these teen takeover trends? And are you looking at danger involved? And what are your thoughts?
And I would say it's okay if they do have participated in them. I contend that, our young people have the right to gather. It is when it becomes destructive, that's the issue. We have a right to gather. And also, I want to be clear about this. We have over 350,000 young people in the city of Chicago between the ages of 12 to 23. In that, according to the last census tract, it could be more. My only point is we're talking about a small number, 2,000, 1,500, 2,000, and they're not all from Chicago. What we've learned through some other data tracking that they come from all over. But I want to let you guys have the floor. And the young man over to me, Ace, right? Am I getting your name right, Ace? You said I wanted you to dive into not getting, upset. As you're saying, not getting upset about the government or institutions, and don't allow them to get you upset. I disagree with you, but you got a right to your opinion.
Yeah, it's not necessarily about you guys not getting upset, because you guys, are allowed to feel the way you are supposed to feel. But all I'm saying is that everything that we went through, everything that we're still currently going through, yes, you are supposed to feel some type of way. Yes, you are supposed to take into action. But what I'm saying is, in you taking action and in you trying to fix some issues or resolve some things, don't get infuriated and like crazy mentally in the way of doing that. Don't let your anger take a hold of you, what you're trying to accomplish. Don't let that blind you, because then you're going to be acting out of emotion and not acting out of logic.
Ace, could that same advice, and I appreciate you saying that for the work we're doing, and could you almost say that for the young people, because maybe with the teen takeovers and things, maybe sometimes folks are coming out to have a good time and just to gather. I mean, I guess that would be a good adrenaline rush. Like, man, it's gonna be 100, 700 people out here. I'm gonna go too. It's gonna be girls there. It's gonna be guys there, but maybe sometime in the getting together harmlessly and the gathering, but then maybe people are frustrated about.
I ain't gonna lie. Can I keep it?
Yes,
a bean?
please.
Like, I'm young, right? I ain't been to these teen takeovers. Like, I could count on one hand, probably 3 fingers. You feel me? It really going to like the social group aspect, like the real social environment. Like, it'd be girls going and dudes going, right? They'll really go just to have fun. They wouldn't go to necessarily commit no problems. But I feel like in our generation, the females and the males don't even know how to talk to each other. So instead, you got the females coming to the party, you got the females coming to the female takeover, standing in this group with their friends. Then you got the dudes standing over here. And then our generation, I ain't gonna lie, females like a crash out. So you gonna have the dudes just doing dumb stuff just to prove himself to the female. Like, he'll go literally do some dumb stuff, and then he'll walk to the female and try to get the female number. Like,
wow,
it's called fronio stuff. That's what we call it in our generation.
Well, what's
fronio stuff.
Fronio.
Yeah, fronting. Like, you
You're
showing out. Showing out.
Uh-huh,
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that partakes into a lot of the drama as well. So
that's a good point.
yeah, it be stuff like that though.
I feel like it started with social media. So it's like somebody on social media post like a trend, like somebody with like probably like a decent amount of following, they'll post like a trend. And it could be somebody who any age, probably like older than 23, older than 25. It could be somebody probably who 30 or somebody who probably 15. It don't matter who it is. And they post somewhere, a location they know everybody gonna be at. Like he said, I do feel like people go for a good time, but I know like people who I be around, it be like, I know it's gonna be females there. I know it's gonna be males there. I know it probably be people who we into it with there. So I'm going for a good time and I'm going to see somebody. So that's what it really be sometimes. So it could be like with the younger people who like 17 through like, I'd say like 14 through like 19 or probably like 20, 21. Go there to really talk to females, this, that, and third. But their real goal is to really see people who they don't like and really do stuff like that. I don't think people go to gathers. I say some people really go there to really have fun, which they do because that is their fun. They want to go back home and be like, oh,
I was there.
I did this. Or when you look on the news or you see it go trending, oh, it was shots broke out or fights, this, that, and third. People do really want to be like, oh, that was us or that was me for the fun of it. So, but
especially with the rappers, like you gotta like, especially our generation, like in order to rap and blow up or even be known in Chicago, you gotta have some respect. I ain't gonna lie. So somebody will feel like they'll have to have some situations or things that they did under their belt in order to get their rap career off or in order to get some sort of fame. So like he said, I'm just saying that to Bicky Pack off.
Yeah. Kenny, let me get Kenny and Malia too. What are your thoughts about that?
This is Malia. And I think that I do think that it's a social thing as well too. I think, and I hate to say it, but I really think like people that attend these teen takeovers love the thrill of going. I think and because it's like so popularized in our community and in schools, like teen takeovers are literally everywhere and everyone talks about them. And, there's posts on TikTok and there's posts on Instagram. And I think it's just the popularity of it. And I think that they love the thrill of going to be able to say that they were outside, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I think the reason why things happen is because obviously it's a closed environment. Like, sad to say, people do bring drinks, people do bring, you know, like cigarettes and stuff. And I think that really causes things to happen. And I think teenagers don't realize that until they're in the moment. But I really think that they go to just have a good time and for the thrill of it, you know?
Yeah, I can see that. Kennedy, you have anything you want to add to that?
Basically, I agree with everybody said. I just feel like they go for the fun of it, but like after a certain time, you know, everybody start having a little too much fun, and things do get out of hand. So it does go downhill from there. But like the main point was to have fun. They hit their target, but it's like they went over the target as well.
And maybe to one of you all's points too, Ace and Kyle, that you know, when I'm there to have fun, so I had some girls there and all that part, and I get that. If I was at that age, I would be there too. But when you start talking about, you know, okay, now I done smoked a little bit, I done drank a little bit, and there goes somebody over there like, that nigga looking at me funny, you know, whatever. It's like now, and then that's maybe where things could slightly go wrong.
I can speak on another thing though. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't just finna sit up here and bash my generation though. It do be a lot of situations on what, like, it would be a teen takeover, right? It would be like a block party or something like that, right? But it'd be a controlled environment already. So it wouldn't even be nothing going on, no drama, no none of that. We really just having fun. And then the police will come out of nowhere and try to like destroy it, make people move around. And you probably got a whole family on this block. Like, we all kicking it, no drama, no nothing. Everybody know each other. It's chill. You feel me? But then you got the police trying to ruin that. And they'll come into our environment and try to like do this. And then that next thing you know, you got people talking about, oh yeah, this is terrible and this is that. Like, our generation know how to control themselves when they need to. You just got to know when to take action and when to not take action when it comes to the police department.
And I was gonna say that too. I was gonna say, because I do feel like a lot of people go to teen takeovers too, like younger people, just to go outside with a crowd of people. Like, it'll be a crowd of males who they probably was busy the whole week, and they like, oh, we gonna go here, and then they just came with a bunch of females. And if you look at a lot of teen takeovers, it really don't be nothing. The police, I feel like they be taking it out of proportion and making it bigger than what it is because it be too many of them, and they trying to move them around, and they don't want to go nowhere, or it's hard for them to like move them around. So they, I
think that's the challenge too.
In some cases, they may have gotten a service call, but I think given the time that we have, I want to ask, since obviously at least two of you, I don't know about the young ladies, have attended some of these such gatherings, right? What can adults do to help make these events less combative or dispel from a responsible space? What can we as adults do to be involved to make it much less offensive?
And can I just, as you all think of your answers, your responses to that question, I think one thing I want to make sure folks, that young people know too, is technically to the defense of law enforcement, when there's a gathering of, if I want to have a picnic with my family, once I get over 50 people or over 100 people,
50
I'm
people, you're supposed to have a permit.
Supposed to have a permit. So I think that's where the line gets blurred about. Wait a minute, here is a gathering of already 100 people. Hey, we got to crowd control this.
But I think what I think our youth, and I hear you, right? But I think our youth are probably a little bit more strategic advanced than we are, which is why they gather in groups. There's 50 here, there's 30 there, there's 25 there. So there, and it may add up to ultimately 500.
Yeah, good point.
It could be it could be me and my crowd. It's
only
20. 6 of us. And we here for females, and we here to see. We probably got other homies, but we'll bump into them later. But it's 6 of us, and we over there. We ain't got nothing to do with that. We just here because we know what's going on.
But here come Ace and his 15 people. Here come Kennedy and her 10 people. Here come Obadeli and his 3 people. You know, so by the time it's clusters of people that are now making up the whole.
However, I think the big problem when it becomes, at some point, the crowd, you can see that there's 200-300, right? And I think when it happens and it goes into a neighborhood, there are residents who tend to get some, and as they should, right? They get a little uneasy. They see a big crowd of young people. The problem we have is being afraid of our young people, right? I think that's at the crux of it. Is Black people being afraid of Black children, and we again. We don't have the time to walk this all down. I really want to hear from the young people and asking what is it that we can do. Now, again, this is not condoning bad behavior, destructive behavior, tearing up, jumping on folks' cars or any of that type of foolishness.
That's uncalled for.
That's uncalled for. And I do think that the curfew laws that's on the books need to be enforced, not a rovering one. I believe that if it's 10 or 12, then that's what it should be. But
so I guess the reaction to the question too, because it's already 8:40, believe it or not. So what do you all think adults can do to support, or what assistance could we or can we even think about providing?
I think I think when it comes to teenagers and adults, of course, like, teenagers don't want to party or want to be around any adults because they can't do what they want to do, or they probably, it'll be like, a lot of teenagers be like, I'm gonna just answer the question. I just feel like, make it how you want to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like us, Acclivus, we could do something. It's a lot of older people and there's a lot of around my crowd and teenagers. Like, we could
host some events or something.
Yeah, host some events and already like set
it's
the
a
rules.
difference. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't even gonna sit up and hold you. You gotta really make it like to where like the younger group and the younger generation could be like even looking at it or interested in coming to the events. You can't just say, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, do that.
Who cares?
Expect right. They not going to even
sound corny.
You know what I'm saying? So all I feel is if like I just feel like the older generation just need to take control. Like, y'all older for a reason.
Wait,
y'all know. Hold on. No, y'all know like it'll be this one grown up. It'll be grown ups at the teen takeover. Like, we could really speak on that. It'll be like it was some block parties I went to, and it was 35-year-olds though. When the police came, they said they all with us. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all could do more of that. They all with us. Everybody right here is all with us. They safe, they straight. Ain't nothing going on. We making sure everything okay. And the police moved around. If we had more grown-ups and more people doing that, it's not even necessarily what y'all could do. It's necessarily about y'all taking over the environment and making sure that we straight as young people.
And I think that's kind of what Acclivus has tried, and some other CVIOs have tried to do by having a presence at some of these teen takeovers.
Yeah, and to an extent, I think what the challenge becomes is with the public. Now, there's public perception, right? And so the challenge becomes when they do turn violent, right?
Or destructive.
For that point, Ace. And I'd like to get the young ladies' input on this. When they become violent, when they become destructive, then what happens? But I want to dive more, because then now there's this call of the parents need to be held accountable. So the parents, and what does that look like? And I want to have a discussion with you guys. I heard you say the adults need to be more responsible, and I contend the same. That I know that there are adults out there, but out there for the wrong reason. I know there are adults. So we have a Black adult problem. We can acknowledge that, right? There are some older Black men who go out there looking for those young girls. So they go for the same reason y'all go. Right?
Let me Kenny and Malia too. Do you all want to dive into about not only the parent accountability part and how adults can support or how adults can support these teen takeovers or youth at these events? Kenzie.
Can it be?
If y'all don't have anything to add, I just want to make sure we didn't miss y'all.
Well, I agree with everyone. Like, I think that adults can just try to understand where teens are coming from. I think that adults just really do think that we're all destructive and we're trying to be destructive, when a lot of times, like, that's really not the case, but things do happen. But like, all in all, I just really think that adults that have programs like this should take heed of where these teen takeovers are, and like maybe make events that reflect that. For example, it was beach trends. Like, maybe you guys should host a beach event where kids can come and just have fun. And I can admit, like what the boys were saying, I can't admit adults are a little nitpicky, I will admit, and do bring the fun out of things a little bit. Like I will admit, you guys are a little strict. So maybe relax a little. Like, I just think we should all just compromise and come together and try to understand each other and not bump heads and not take a opinion where, oh, y'all are this, y'all are that. And we should just compromise and come together and be together.
I like that. And I think I want to try to get some of our callers on. We got a full bank of calls as usual. But I really appreciate you all again sharing these perspectives. And again, I think we're going to have to do this.
Well, I agree. And one solution that I made is I was responding to one incident that happened in our area where there were several people shot, is that the Park District, and I think to an extent they're doing it. They're doing the late night basketball thing, right? I suggested that the Park District open up across the city. We can strategically, whether it's the South Shore, one, in middle and on the west side, Inglewood, allow young people to come in and supervise, have parties, have dance parties, have talent shows. I mean, open the Park Districts up, that removes them off the street, and then, have the community CVI folks along with law enforcement as they're getting ready to leave to go home. So if we're dispersing them at midnight or at 1 a.m., now people would cringe upon that. I'm saying that, listen, we used to have, just say no. And their programs were ridiculous. They didn't work, right? So what we understand now is young people want to have fun. They want to engage with each other, as we did too, right? And times have changed. So we have to change with the times. We use this term, driving off expired license. As you can see, but it didn't mean that your license physically it's meaning that you're not relatable. It means that the old way of thinking doesn't work today. It means that, like you just heard, Brother Ace, the language has changed. He just spoke some language in their terms. You got to be in to understand their language and what they're saying and become relatable and meeting people where they are. And listen, and again, and this is not condoning negative, disruptive behavior, but I don't think all of our young people are negative and disruptive, right? They need investment, they need support, and they need proper guidance.
But I like what
I
they
got
said
a question.
too. Go ahead.
This for everybody, y'all. So, like, when it comes to the teen takeovers, what's the problem? Like, what do y'all think? Like, because from my understanding, right, it'd be a lot of more older parties. Like, it'd be like a couple teen takeovers, but it really be like a lot of more, like, because I don't go to me personally, I don't go to teen takeovers, but I do go to gatherings. But it'd be like I go to a college gathering, or I go to, it'd be the same thing. So with the teen takeover, I want to know, like, what be the problem with the teen takeover?
Let me put my old hat on. So I think from what I can see, now one side of me is like, I get y'all, I get it. If I was young, I would be out there as well. But I think when we get, the problem is, again, maybe it's a crowd of clusters of people that have all gathered together. So 10 here, 15 here. Now it's 300, and now everybody is deciding to rush. Maybe they're being told to leave the lakefront. And so now they're rushing through Hyde Park. No problem. It's a little overwhelming to see. I see bike clubs like that coming through the neighborhood, hundreds of bikes, going over to the lake. But now you're coming through, and now you're running across my car. And now you're coming through, and you're running into Trader Joe's.
That's uncalled for.
Yeah. So I think the behavior that you all are saying is uncalled for. I think that's where you an adult.
Or like me, who as an adult who's been caught in several of them, right? Driving downtown, leaving AMC movie theater, and there was a kind of quote unquote teen trends, and I'm driving, leaving out of the parking garage and turning, and 20 teens just drunk across the street. I got to hit my brakes before I hit somebody. Then they stop and slow down and look at me. Now, as me being the father had come on and say, "Get your ass right." But I had to. My wife grabbed me, because I'm really one to. I go into a father mode quick, right? Or being in Hyde Park, taking my daughter was home from college a year ago, and we went to a restaurant in Hyde Park to have dinner, and there was the Halloween takeover, which Acclivus have normally have been involved with, kind of helping, right? But it's clear to me that it was getting out of hand. But it was a point where it was getting out of hand. I wanted to stop and get more involved, so I walked a little bit slower. But my wife, those are the kind of things. So it is the fear of the unknown, and I will say again, it goes
the
back
fear of the unknown and the pissed offness of did y'all just run across my dang on car? Are y'all sitting on top of my car? Like that part, which I love that
So
you
it
all
be-
saying this
it
that's
be-
uncalled for.
Can
but
I say something?
It
I
be
ain't
a
gonna
lot
lie.
of people.
I ain't gonna lie. I do feel like y'all are right with that. Now, one thing that I was thinking about saying this whole time while everybody was speaking was situations happen everywhere. Everything is it's situations like this happening everywhere. People going out to have fun. It's going to be shootouts. It's going to be this. It was that in y'all generation too. It's going to forever happen. But I just feel like our situations get blown out of proportion. They just overshow it more.
No,
Well,
because of
to be
it doesn't
honest.
happen. We got to get to the solution on why they become violent and get out of hand, right? Black folks gather all the time.
Right.
The same weekend that we had shootings, black folks gathered in Hyde Park and on Harper Square, and they had a party in Harper Square, and you had 300 or 400 black folks out there dancing.
Chosen few picnics coming up. It's gonna be
and there's never been an incident, right? So what I'm saying, right, with young people, we have to. You guys, you say you don't attend. But man, Ace, I look like you've been in a few of them, right? I don't know about the young ladies. What we're trying to get to is what can we do as adults, right? And even policymakers who are listening, because they're listening to this conversation. I've gotten a text from a few elected officials. They're listening. What is it that they can do to help make these events not become violent?
Stop being scared. Hold on. I'm gonna say this. Join in. How about y'all take lead? Like how I said, it goes back to everything that I said. Now, it is some problems that we have to fix. It's a lot of problems that we do have to fix. But I ain't gonna lie, it be a lot of situations for me and myself. Like, I'll be walking down the street, I'll see my older black fellow person, and I'll be like, what's the word, OG? You know what I'm saying? They'll look at me like they on standby, and I'm like, I'm not even on that. Like, I'm a very respectful young man. You feel me? So
I feel like,
yeah,
I feel like
he hit on something. He hit on something, and this is something that I try to we walk down the street, and you make upon your point. Young people, in some cases, are begging for help. If you're a black person, and you look at them like they're undesirable, and the first thing out of you, my point is, listen. There are a myriad of problems in our community, and I know time is getting short, and I don't want to stop you, brother. You're good. But I think you made a valid point. I try to speak to every young person that I encounter, male or female. I try to offer up that level of. I never want to lose my connection to, which is why I walk the streets, even in this space. I don't have to. I'm not an outreach worker. I'm past all of that. But I intentionally engage with young people because, one, I know that we have no future without them, and that we have some really difficult times ahead of us in our community, and we need to try to pour into them.
And again, the hour gets away from us so quick, as y'all see. So look, I'm telling y'all now, we're gonna have to do another show on this probably next month. But we we might not even get to our calls. I think one thing I'm hearing is bring back the village concept where, hey, I see you, hey, I don't even know you, hey, how you doing, hey, young man, how you doing, or whatever. And when I see young men and young ladies on the street and I say hello to them, I do get that from them. Look, hey, how you doing, hey, what's up, and that's cool, and that's it, just already with that. Secondly, it sounds like you were saying too, create events where that are really kind of more organized by you all, so that we can't just say, oh, Acclivus is hosting a blah 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 event. Who cares? But if it's coordinated by you all, then you all can spread it to y'all environments, and it's like, okay, and it might end up being this big old 100 person or 200 person event. That's like, cool, that's what we want, because at least you all are now at something that's a little more controlled. We give you free food, free music, whatever, but it's organized by y'all. Go ahead.
That's what I was gonna say.
Can I say something once? Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Jabbar. Yeah, go ahead, Jabbar.
Go ahead, Jabbar.
So all I was gonna say is to kind of piggyback off what they were saying. I definitely believe if we kind of like basically made it like a big family reunion. So we playing games, we got the music going, we got food, some creative activities. Also, once again, as long as they're comfortable with that, I feel like that's the perfect situation in my opinion. But that's all I want to say.
I agree. We only have 5 minutes left. Yeah, I'm just
We'll
gonna
try to
apologize to
squeeze
our
in a few
callers.
calls.
We might
We'll try to
maybe
get
one
one
or
or two.
two. Let me
I
find
just
that
wanted to say, like you were saying, you had people texting you saying, like, what can we do? I feel like he said, don't be scared and make it like positive and bring something to the table. Like if you see some event that's going on with a team takeover, I feel like if y'all like come bring something to the table, maybe the kids will want to stop and pay attention and do something right.
Yeah, I have a question for the young ladies, Kennedy and the other young lady on the line. Have you guys attended any of these events, so-called team takeovers? I like to say so-called.
No, we have not actually.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to get your feel if you've attended any of them. All right. I think we can try to
do one or
squeeze
two
in one or
calls.
two
Yes, we
calls.
might
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
few more minutes.
yeah.
I'm gonna go to Cliff. Good morning, Cliff. You're on with the Acclivus Hour very quickly.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I'll be brief. I have a little bit more concern of something more serious. What's responsible for the teen killing? Not the teen takeover, but the teen killing. Why are our people killing our people? Where are they getting the guns? Where are they getting the ammunition? Speak on that.
Well,
Thank
you- well, Cliff. Well, all right, Cliff. Yeah, I want to try to speak on that.
I
Yeah.
try to speak on it.
All right.
I feel like the teen killings, right? It's like where we getting the guns, where we getting this. I ain't even gonna speak on none of that because I don't know nothing about that life. I'm a young black man. Okay. So, but one thing that I am gonna say is it really fall back onto the OGs. It's no more control, it's no more structure. Where are y'all at?
I feel like
You know what I'm saying? If y'all had more control, if it was more structure like how it was back in the day, it probably wouldn't be so many teen killings. But you don't got no OGs reaching out. You don't got no structure. You don't have nothing. Y'all just look at us and then y'all just y'all portray this image on us and then y'all low-key standoffish on us. So now we out here trying to figure out how to survive on our own with no help. So you gonna have situations like this. Y'all gotta reach out to us. That's where it starts first.
a lot of kids be fearful of their life. So that's what the teen killers be. You got kids who want to live the street life and they probably see somebody they don't like I was saying earlier, and that was their whole purpose of going up probably. And that's just growing up. Like I said though, like it all fall back on, like he's saying, like the OGs or their parents, because it's like how you don't know what your kids bringing outside.
Exactly what it is.
Okay, Cliff. I'm gonna try to take another call. Cliff, thank you. We're gonna continue this conversation though. So thank you, Cliff, for calling in. Mike M. Good morning. Thanks. You're on with the Acclivus Hour.
Okay, I'll try to be quick and brief. Number one, cameras to put every crook and evil person doing evil deeds on blast, as well as those profiteers behind them. And the answer is related to the places that are successful and don't have this problem. Do what they're doing. Use your own common sense. That ain't really hard. But these politicians and these other people that's reaping benefits off of these problems and situations and resisting, not trying to solve them, is a problem.
Right.
Exactly. That's all I have to say about it.
Exactly.
And love one another, like the young lady said. Number one, a sense of respect and speaking to one another. And number two is a sense of community. That's where our answer is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can bring that back. I mean, I miss the days of being able to know that your neighbor, if I'm next door to you and I see you doing something, I'm gonna say something to you without your mama coming back to me. What you doing talking to my kid?
Right.
So there's some of those little things have changed a little bit too.
Right.
Thanks, Mike. I'm gonna see if we can get Randy on. Randy, you're on with the Acclivus Hour real quick. Huh?
Yes, good morning to you all, and I think it was excellent, good program. We should have like once a month, once twice, allow the young people to come on and share their views and stuff. And also, they need to have team leadership training and teams to train in conflict resolution and stuff too. As well as then you have adult supervision. But I definitely support what y'all doing. Keep up the excellent work, sister and brother Mamani. Keep up the good work. Y'all keep up the good work, young people.
Randy.
Take care. Take care. You're welcome. Take care.
Try to go real quick to Chris. Got 1 minute or less.
Okay, good morning, Obadeli, Katrina. We're on your return. Very good. Good morning, young people. Good to have the young people on there, get their perspective, and instead of talking at them, talking to them and meeting them with where they are, getting their perspective. Very refreshing, and I wish y'all much success. And is a conspiracy. Obadeli had me on hold for 2 hours. Hey, much love to y'all.
Good morning. Thank you, Chris. Eduardo, you're the last caller today. Good morning. You're on with the Acclivus Hour.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. There's a show here in Tampa Bay. They just had it yesterday, Florida this week. Take the time to look at it. There's a new museum that's going to be built in Tampa Bay. They say Florida is number 2. This comes from a PBS station. Florida's number 2 as far as black-owned businesses. So look at that show, Florida This Week, this Friday's edition, June 26th. It's very good. It's a Black History Museum that's going to be built here in Tampa Bay.
Thanks,
Very
Eduardo.
great show.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you. As we're wrapping up too, we were talking about solutions and alternatives. I know, Jabari, you hosted a trades event yesterday at Dawson. Highlighting the services from Dawson Institute. You want to share a real quick update on that and any information that people need from that?
Yeah, so we basically partnered with Dawson Tech to have them kind of like introduce whether like the community and just the youth to the skills and the trades that they had available to people. They got construction, electrical work, HVAC, welding, and then a few other trades, culinary arts as well. Basically, it allows you to get some earning potential without necessarily, requiring a 4-year degree. A lot of these things were either certificates, like basic certificates, advanced certificates, and then you can also get a 2-year degree. It just depends on what you're trying to do, how much time you have available. And then some of these things actually offer stipends or payment while you're even training. So that's incentive enough for some people because at the end of the day, they need the money, but also they need the trade, so yeah.
Okay, and then we just real quick in our last minute, we've got Acclivus Sports Basketball and Mentoring Championship on Monday, June 29th. Today in North Lawndale, 14th and Kaminsky, we got our Play Streets activity.
You'll
free.
Be there, right?
I will be. I'm going there after this.
All right, Brother Wall, you go out there and see Katrina. All right.
Why you telling me?
All right, it's okay.
All right. So, and then you can always stay connected via our e-newsletter. We got the NOFO. Again, check out our website. The deadline is July 6th. And I think that is all we got time for, y'all. I really say thank you, guys. Thank you, young ladies.
I would say another positive thing, we're going to be able to employ about 30 youth in the coming weeks, giving them 25 to 30 hours a week at $17 an hour. So that is very success. Thankful to State Senator Matty Hunter and the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. Again, we're putting dollars into summer youth employment, but all year round employment. The city put out a bid for summer jobs, and they were able to hire 30 young people, but 54,000 applied. So there were just not enough. But the state will be able to fill up some of those efforts. So it's good to know. I know time is short.
So thank you. I can't even let everybody do closing comments. Again, if you guys want to talk with us more or join us in studio about how you guys support violence prevention work, email us at communications@acclivusinc.org. And in the meantime, on behalf of LaVon Stone Sr., our board of directors,
Peace and great things. We out of here.
Thank you.